from the 30. Owls up 14-7. Snap, fake the reverse to Vineyard. Throws down the middle. Open man, caught inside the 5. Touchdown, black and gold!
We're back in the film room for another KSU Owl Network film review, and we're joined by our head football coach, Jerry Mack. Coach Mack, today we're talking about sameness and likeness in the Kennesaw State offense. And when people hear sameness and likeness, well, that means the same thing, but not quite. How do you define it?
Yeah, so when we talk about sameness, we're talking about the exact same formation, whether it's a 2x2, 3x1, or even an FIB formation, which means formation in the boundary. When we talk about likeness, that means that it feels like the same play based off the formation. For instance, we could be running an inside zone with a motion, but then we could be running a power read concept with the motion as well. So formationally wise, it's the same, and it will somewhat feel like the same play, but they're two totally different plays from a standpoint of blocking scheme, or even sometimes protectionally wise if you want to throw the football.
So how do sameness and likeness benefit our offense specifically?
Different presentations. What we're trying to constantly do is present different looks to the defense side of the ball. We want them to line up and feel like they can identify exactly what we're going to do, but on the flip side, we're doing something entirely different. So we're doing a great job, I feel like, all week, constantly in the film room, trying to figure out all those different small things that this defense is going to line up this way to this formation, but let's present something new to them they haven't seen us do really the entire year sometimes.
Well, we certainly saw a lot of that in 2025, so I'm excited to see the cut-ups you have today.
Yeah, so let's hop right into it. So this is what we call a 1x3 formation, which means there's a nub tight end to the field, and we have 3 receivers lined up into the boundary. So as we run this play, you can see we're going to send one of those receivers in motion across the ball. When we send the receiver in motion, it's giving us a lot of information. Once again, they're going to tell us exactly how they want to handle this motion. Do they want to handle the motion and adjust with the second level, or do they want to spin a safety down and handle it from the third level? They're also going to tell us exactly how they're going to react to some of these blocking schemes that we're doing. So how are the linebackers exactly going to fit? This is just a basic inside zone blocking scheme with the backside tight end trying to cut the backside off. So as we run the play, running back does a really good job of reading his blocks, and he does a really good job of cutting this all the way to the backside. The quarterback's contribution to this play, it doesn't seem like very much, but I want you to see how the quarterback, once he disengages with the handoff, how he grabs the defender's eyes, and that defender looks to the quarterback just a second, and now he's late coming inside and making the play, and we're able to break that tackle and get a positive gain. Same formation, so like this is the exact same formation you just saw, the exact same game you just saw, but now things are going to be a little bit different. We're still sending the receiver in motion, but now the blocking scheme up front will be a little bit different. So it feels like the same play to the defense, but in essence, it's really a totally different play. The other thing was, from the previous play, we saw that we potentially had a chance to get the ball to the perimeter. So we're always looking for those things to get the ball into space and get the ball into grass. So you can see we're pulling the backside guard on this particular play, and the quarterback is simply reading the edge defender. So if the edge defender is in a position where we feel like we can get the ball to the perimeter, he's going to go ahead and put the ball in the belly of the receiver coming in motion with the lead blocker being the running back. If he felt like that we were going to be outflanked and this defender was wide, the quarterback would keep it, and now we have a lead blocker, which is that pulling guard, that we can divide the defense. We do a good job of handing the ball off, and now we're trying to what we call circle the defense, which means we're trying to get the ball to the edge on the perimeter and capture as many yards and take advantage as much space as possible. That ends up being an explosive play for us, which is great. It doesn't always have to be an explosive play. Sometimes we just want efficient runs. That's the key to every run. On this particular play, you can see now we're doing a couple of different things with some motions. So we start off in one look, and now we shift to a very similar formation. Now it's a 2x2 formation with the slot receiver to the boundary, still coming in motion like we just saw, but now still running the same concept, still reading the same player, and now we're at hat for hat, and now we're trying to get the ball to the edge again. The receiver probably should continue to circle the defense like we talked about before, but he feels so much space and so much grass that he sticks his foot in the ground and tries to divide the defense and get as much as he can. The receiver's also doing a good job right here. In traffic, he's getting to the class once again, and he's trying to gain and maximize what he can out of this play.
You said space right there. What role do splits and formations factor into creating space in this offense?
We're trying to make the defense and take advantage of the entire width of the field. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to make these guys on the defensive side of the ball cover every blade of grass that's out there. So we're trying to put those guys in much of a bind as possible. We feel like we like to play the game in a lot of space. Now, there will be times where we'll get more condensed and we will disperse and then take advantage of that space. But all in all, whether we line up already wide or whether we come more condensed, the game of the game is to try to put the ball in the playmaker's hands with as much space as possible to put more stress on the defenders.
And then at some point here in seeing this, there's a math equation too, just trying to get numbers.
You are. So you're trying to do a great job of figuring out exactly with the motion or with the shift or whatever it may be, how can we out leverage the defense? We're trying to leverage the defense so we can get outside. And if we can't leverage the defense with some form of fashion of motion, can we leverage the defense with our formation? So all those different things kind of come into effect, exactly how we can create the space and how we can define the space on the field. So in this particular one, you can see we're already lined up in an FIB formation. It's still a 2x2 formation. Once again, it's the same formation we just saw previously. We're bringing the receiver in motion again, and now we decide to hand the football off. All these things are calculated as far as when we decide to do these certain things, because this is about the third or fourth time within the course of the game that we have ran kind of this same play. It's been good for us, it's been efficient for us, so we want to continue to do it. Also, too, there are certain things from the box that the coaches are looking at as well. They're looking from the box, how this second level or even the third level, how are these guys reacting when the guard pulls? Are they stepping down? Are they staying put? Are they not respecting it and dropping into their zone? So all those different things with the pulling guard, along with the motion, along with the ball potentially in the belly of the receiver, we're trying to get a feel for what these guys are going to do so we can set something up potentially later on in the football game. So once again, we give the ball to the receiver in motion. He does a good job of getting us a first down. Now, since we've done those plays a couple of times, we're going to do the same exact play, the same exact pulling guard concept. It's called a gap scheme protection. But now we get a chance to throw the football behind those same defenders that thought we were going to be able to run the ball. And now we can create an explosive play. Once again, it's a likeness appeal for their second level defenders because they're seeing the pulling guard, they're seeing those down blocks by those offensive linemen, they're seeing the ball in the belly with the receiver coming in motion, but we're actually going to throw the ball behind those guys' head and have a chance to create an explosive play.
You said these are calculated for getting them out there, but how do you know when to pick your spots?
A lot goes into the flow of the game. As we go through the course of the game, we got coaches in the box, we got coaches on the sideline. Everyone has a responsibility of certain things they're looking at. So as we get information, every series we're getting more and more information. Even if a play isn't quite successful, we're still getting information from that play because we had some motion, we had a shift, or just a simple reaction from the defense. We also scouting the defense as well. So different players have different tendencies. So as certain players come into the game that we've seen throughout the course of our film study, we know that those tendencies, those guys are going to be maybe more aggressive to come up on run support, maybe a little bit softer. Maybe the one guy isn't as strong as another guy, so we need to take advantage of running the ball a certain way. So there's so many moving parts that go into the scouting report all the way to really coming alive and being able to make certain adjustments on game day.
There's so much that goes into this. It is not, I'm going to run to the football, snap it really quick, and just look one way and make a quick pass. That's far from the truth.
I wish it was that easy. But there's a lot that goes into making all the things that we talk about in the classroom, making it actually come to life on the grass. Because another entire part is how we're going to practice all this information throughout really a short week. Sometimes you got 3 days, sometimes you got 4 days to really actually practice on the grass.
And then it's weekdays to USA. Some days you don't know what day of the week it is.
You never know when we get in October. So from a protection standpoint, so as we go through this concept, there's a great example of, here's a concept that we're running that is the same concept, but the protection is totally different in both of these plays. So in this particular play, we're sending the runner in motion, and we have a post route up top by the receiver. The running back has a free release out the backfield of the seam, And now the guy that came in motion, he is the last resort as a potential check down if the quarterback doesn't like any of these options that he's throwing to. In this particular situation, you can see the receiver up top. He ends up taking 2 defenders with him, and now we create a one-on-one situation where the running back has a chance to make a play on the ball. The other thing to really notice in this is the protection. Earlier in this game, we were doing a lot of gap scheme protection where we were pulling the guard or we were running the ball in a power read. In this particular protection, we are full sliding the protection with the tight end off the edge, and the quarterback does a good job of stepping up. So a total different protection, a total different feel to the defense, but from a standpoint of the runner coming in motion, ball being in the belly, and the runner getting a free release just like he would do on a power read, it feels really very similar. And the formation is really the same that we had been doing earlier in the course of this game. That's a really good concept for us. But now this is an entirely different game, an entirely different week. And now we're going to run the same concept, and we're going to present it a different way. We're going to present it also a different way with the protection up front. So you can see we're in a formation now that's an FIB formation. We're still putting the runner in motion. The ball is in the belly. The receiver's releasing free. The receiver up top is on a post route. But now you can see we're pulling a backside guard. So now that feels like what we were doing the previous week, where we were pulling the guard and running the ball. Now we just added that same kind of protection or that same kind of look another week, but with the same concept that we ran earlier in the year. In different defenses, they play these formations and they play these adjustments very different. You can see last time, this post runner was able to take 2 because that's what he was able to occupy. This time, he's able to take 1, and now not only do we have the inside the post runner for a touchdown, if the quarterback would have been a little bit patient, we potentially could have got the running back 2 up the seam for a touchdown as well. So once again, in its purest form, that's a great example of what sameness and likeness looks like across the board, whether it be from protection or whether it be from some form or fashion of run concept as well.
How excited do the players get when you install the game plan and you talk about, okay, we're going to try to catch them this way, we're going to switch it up a little bit here? Do they get excited about this? Because I know I would.
Their eyes light up. They always come in on Monday evenings and they're always excited to see what kind of new wrinkles that we have in the game plan this week. And I think the beauty of it is, the fun part of it is, as we go throughout the week, they're constantly seeing how everything kind of comes together. When we first initially put it in, they don't always exactly see it. But as we go dive into the film, start watching it really more by situation, whether it be third down, whether it be first down, red zone, all those different parts of the game, those guys really start seeing how it all comes together. And it's important for the quarterback to truly understand that as well, so he can make any kind of adjustments he needs to make on the field as well.
And you've talked about situational football since your start. You know, that's something that's important for championship teams, and we were great in situational football. It's how you win a championship. I mean, there's so much minutia that comes down to it too, about picking your spots here and in those certain situations as the season goes on.
Yes, it is. You know, we do a good job, I feel like, of getting all the information through data analytics as well. Our Peter Chung, he gives us some information on the sideline in real time. But so much of that information, what the tendencies are, our GAs, our analysts do a great job of bringing different tendencies to us as they study all those different things throughout the course of the week.
So to have a great play late in the ball game, how many hours go into getting to that exact detail of the play?
You know what, I wish I could tell you from a standpoint of hours. You know, I know we're in there early in the morning, we leave late at night. That's why it's so important to have a really good staff that you like to be around and that you feel like we're all singing out the same hymn book and working together. You know, we treat it like a submarine, which means, you know, these guys are away from their families 18, 19 hours out of the day. We want to go home to sleep 5-6 hours sometimes throughout the course of the week. So it's really, really important that we do a great job of having some team chemistry, not only just with the players, but also with the coaches. I want to be around people that I respect, that I like, that I know they got my back when we get in those kind of situations like you see in this game.
Absolutely, Coach. Well, be sure to stay up to date on everything KSU football as we continue to provide content here in the offseason and get you set for 2026. Be sure to scoop up your season tickets. They're available at KSUOwls.com.